Hello, welcome to Geek and Sneak YouTube channel. Today we are going to do a software review about Adobe Photoshop CC 2019 version 20.0.6, the latest version of Adobe Photoshop CC 2019, and let's get started. First of all, when we look at the loading screen of Adobe Photoshop CC 2019 version, it has been more attractive than when we look the previous versions, CS versions or CC versions about in 2016, older versions of CC versions. 2019 version loading screen has been more attractive than others and has been more user friendly, so that with an artistic touch. So it is very good for the user and it is so attractive when we're talking about the loading screen. So if you are talking about the brush tool has been improved more in this new version of Photoshop CC 2019 version. When we do something with the brush tool, when we draw something with the brush tool, it is not symmetrical in the previous versions. But when we come to the new version, Adobe Photoshop CC 2019 version, when we do something with the brush tool, it is automatically made symmetrical. So it is more advantageous both for the beginners and also for the pros. For the
designers
and editors to do their work. When doing complicated work, it is more useful for the designers, pro designers and editors, so they can do their work easily. And also this brush, when we are using this brush tool, it is automatically made smooth. The smoothness is improved and also the polishedness. It is well polished when we do something with the brush tool, or when we work with the brush tool. The things we draw and the things we do are more polished and more smoother than the other versions of Photoshop.
And it also helps to get a richer and more artistic output of a design or maybe a picture which you are being editing. So it is really advantageous for all the aspects of people, like the beginners and the pros in editing. And the next new feature of the Adobe Photoshop CC 2019 version is the content aware fill experience. Actually, it helps us, especially when selecting some object or image when we are editing or doing a design. So when we use the selection tools like the lasso tool or maybe the quick selection tools for selecting, in the previous versions it was a bit tough for making selections more accurately, because some color gradings and some pixel movements affected the selection process. So in this new version, it is programmed as like an artificial intelligence to select the areas with content awareness, which helps us to select an object more accurately rather than doing it manually. So this is automated completely by the Adobe Photoshop. So it helps us in many ways to increase our output of a picture to make it look more realistic, and it also helps us more artistic and to help us get a good output.
Yeah. Next we are going to talk about the frame tool. When we talk about the frame tool, it has also improved in CC 2019 version. When we add a frame in our workspace, when we add a frame, if we want to fill it with a color, with a texture, or with an image or something we want, we should follow a long process. We should follow a separate procedure. But in the CC 2019 version, we can drag and drop the picture or the texture or the color from the place where we can find that, and just fill that frame easily without any procedures or without any difficulties. So it has been a great advantages for all.
The next feature we are going to talk about is usability improvements, which has been affected to the latest version of Adobe Photoshop. That is like reference point of some image when we are moving some image, or some could be any kind of selection. So when we are moving or transforming its size, or when we are rotating it, we can see a small icon like aim or target with a small circle and few strips in the middle of in the right center of the selection or the image. That is known as the reference point. So when we are moving some object, it really disturbs us when we are moving an object to a specific location which we have already marked. The picture doesn't move, but the reference point does. So it is very disadvantageous when we are editing or maybe designing some work. So in the new version, the reference point is default hidden. So if we need the reference point to be visible, we can make it visible, or else it's hidden from the users, which helps us to move and scale images so easily. So that is also a new advantage of the new version of Adobe Photoshop.
So when we talk about the undo mode of this Adobe Photoshop CC 2019 version, it is named as multiple undo mode because we can do this undoing thing into as we want. I mean, earlier it was limited into a certain number of times because it was limited to the users and they can't go back as they want to their previous edits. So in this new version of Adobe Photoshop, they have given the chance of doing this multiply so that we can go to the place as we want. In the Windows operating systems, we can use this by pressing Ctrl plus Z button, and in the Mac OS we can use this by Command plus Z button.
And the next useful feature of the new version of Adobe Photoshop is the lock workspace option. It enables us to lock the workspace which we are working right now, like the picture we are editing, so the panels doesn't move anywhere because most of the users accidentally move the panels without intention. This also helps.
It has been a great disturbance to the
editors and even for the beginners when they try to move around with the software. It is really a hindrance for any kind of users. So with this lock workspace option, it is resolved for a certain extent. It can be locked, the workspace. Unless we don't want it to be locked, we can unlock it manually. So that is also a very special option which comes in the latest version of Adobe Photoshop.
Next we are going to talk about the text tool. When we talk about the text tool in the latest version, when we type a certain text and then when we do some work, another work, when we need to edit this text after some time, we should follow a different procedure. We should go back to the text tool and do the certain things. But in the latest version of this Adobe Photoshop, this enables us to edit this text by double clicking, and we all know that it's a simple way so that we can edit this text very easily.
The next prominent feature of the latest version is the in-app learning system, which is kind of a good experience for the beginners rather than the professional users. So when somebody starts Photoshop in the initial moment, maybe they doesn't know anything about editing, right? So if they want to learn Photoshop tricks and everything regarding Photoshop, they either have to go to a class or maybe learn from somebody else.
Or otherwise by YouTube, right?
Yeah,
you can YouTube.
That's the latest trend. So apart from that, there is no much support from the previous versions of Photoshop for the beginners to play around with the software. So in this latest version, there is a special in-app learning system which provides tips and tricks and certain details about the tools and latest things in the software. So we just have to move the mouse pointer onto the tool or maybe some kind of color swatch or something. It automatically shows a small tip about how to control this tool,
what to do with it,
and how to get the maximum usage of it. So this is a optional feature. You can turn it on if you are a beginner and you want to learn things faster, and if you are an expert or a pro in this Photoshop editing, you can switch it off anytime you want through settings. So that's one of the new features.
And then when we talk about the blend option, it has been modified in the new version of Photoshop. So when we talk about the previous versions, this blend mode, I mean, we can use this by selecting the separate option. I mean, we have to see if we need to get the preview of the separate option, we should select that and we have to apply that. Unless, I mean, we cannot see the preview without selecting. So developers has focused about this, and then in the new version of Photoshop, I mean the CC 2019 version, we can see, I mean, before selecting the feature, we can see the preview by moving the cursor to the separate option, and we can see the preview in the workspace. So it has helped the beginners, especially who doesn't know what is happening with that. So it is a good, I mean, it is a positive side we can see in this new version. And then we are going to move on to the next feature. It is the color wheel, which has been introduced in the CC 2019 version of Photoshop. In the earlier versions of Photoshop, we can see a color dialog box which is appeared in the interface, and in that we can select the colors as we want. But in the new version, there is a separate thing called color wheel, which is easy to use, and we can select colors easily according to the required depth. So it has been very, I mean, it has been very advantageous. So it is a plus point in this new version of Photoshop. So those are the special features we can see in the new version of Photoshop. I mean the Adobe Photoshop CC 2019 version. So in our personal view, it's good. I mean there are so many plus points in this new version, and both for beginners as well as the pros. So it has been very advantageous for all.
Yeah, considering the older versions and the latest version of Adobe Photoshop, this has been a great revolutionary product from the Adobe software company. So
I mean it is very useful for all. I mean,
yeah, starting from the beginners to the professionals, yeah, it is really upgraded to a plus point.
Right. So if you need this software, I mean the Adobe Photoshop CC 2019 version 20.0.4, we have provided you the link in the description below, so that you can download it in the link. So at last, I'm Shamatka, and follow me on Instagram. This is my username, and you?
I'm Pawan Pereira, and this is my username on Instagram. If you have any problems after using the software you downloaded, you can contact us using our Instagram profiles, or you can use the comment section down below to comment your problems to us. We will help you with to the best we can.
Yeah, actually, I mean, we are not pros actually, but we will help you
with what we know.
With what we know, and it will be a plus point for us also. So as a request, we request you to share this video, to like this video, and add a comment below. And don't forget to subscribe. This is our subscribe button, and click the bell icon next to that, so that you can get
with us for upcoming videos.
Yeah.
So that's all for today. So hope to see you guys soon with another video like this. So it's goodbye for now.